Hello, I'm Miles Kane and you're watching Noise 11.
Welcome to Noise 11, Miles Kane.
Hello, sir.
Great to have you here for the first time ever.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and we would have thought we would have got you down a few years, because you've had quite a heritage. I mean, looking at the Miles Kane resume and sprouting off names like the Rascals and Shadow Puppets. I mean, it's a pretty impressive resume, considering your age to date.
Yeah, it's been a complete journey. From when you started playing guitar in a band called Little Flames to where you are now. It's been it's been great. It's been ups, it's been downs, but it's made you who you are. And this record for me, what you've done now, the Colour of the Trap, and the past year and a half has been the sort of definitely the highlight, and you sort of really feel you are and you found your feet, if you know what I mean.
I guess the Rascals and Shadow Puppets were the rehearsal for what was to come with the solo record, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean it's not like a planned thing. It's just sort of it's weird the way things work out. But everything that you've done, you've learned so much, and I guess you put it all into this record, and it sort of means so much to you now, and you've built your own sort of little path, and it feels great, and you just want to go down it,
So you were working with Alex Turner in the Shadow Puppets,
yeah.
And Alex has actually contributed quite a few of the songs to the solo record as well.
Yeah, me and him, we ended up writing some lyrics for the Colour of the Trap, and it came from about halfway through recording the record. I'd done some recording with Griff Rhys. We did 2 tracks with him, and that was the first ever week I'd recorded on my own, and it was just me, him, and this engineer called Craig Silvey, and I recorded The King Crawler and Take the Night From Me, 2 tracks that are on the record, and that was the first week I'd ever done it, and on your own, and it was a whole new sort of way of working. It was just sort of working without being sort of in a band or a group here, and it was a complete new sort of feeling in the studio, and then he'd just call in a drummer, and we built it up from scratch, really. You put the drums down, or I'd put it down, acoustic and vocal to a click, and play over the top and build it up, and then I went in with a producer called Dan Carey, and I recorded like Come Closer, Inhaler, Fantasy, songs like that, and then about halfway through the record there was sort of so many ideas and so many bits and bobs knocking about, and then I had a week in New York with Al. I went over to see him, he was living over there at the time, and went over there for all my demos and all my sort of half the record that was done, and like a song like Rearrange, I remember sitting in his flat, and I had the chorus, you rearrange my mind, and I found this other track, and I had this other song called Let It All Out, and that is the pre-chorus, and then this riff, and we were listening to these 3 demos, and as 3 songs, they were like, those bits were good, but so we just picked them out, and I've never really done that before. Picked out the riff, the pre-chorus and the chorus from these 3 songs, and me and him wrote the verse words and a verse, and put it over 3 chords, real simple, and I think, it's a perfect pop tune in my head, that song. It's got a great riff, it's very sort of pop and easy, but I love that, and working like that is sort of, I like it, I like working like that, and I like working with people as well. It's sort of, it's good to feed off other people. I work sort of better like that.
Yeah, and it's always been about the riff for you, hasn't it? I mean, like going back to the Rascals or Shadow Puppets, there's always these great riffs on.
It's just that, I love that sort of, I love Link Ray and Dwayne Eddy, guitarists like that, and that's what sort of I learned from, even now, and that's where you sort of got your sound and you created that, but I guess a bit more of a beefed up version,
And Noel Gallagher, how did he come to pop by?
Yeah, he just popped by. We'd hung out a couple of weeks before, and then when I was mixing, it's sort of by his house, his studio, and he just come down for a coffee and a Kit Kat, and hung out and done some B&Vs when we were but it's only a little subtle thing. But you know, it's sort of things like that get blown out of the water.
Yeah.
But it was a great afternoon, you know, and quite surreal.
How do you handle somebody like Noel? I mean, were you an Oasis fan?
Oh, of course, you know. That's probably the reason why you picked up a guitar, and you know, and in school you sort of grew your hair the way you did or whatever, you know what I mean? It was sort of, massive. I remember What's the Story, Morning Glory was the first record I got when that come out. I think I'd missed sort of, then I got into definitely maybe after, and that was my first chord book on the guitar, was What's the Story as well.
And, you know, like they're derivative from the Beatles, and, you know, you've also got a derivative Beatles sound with what you do with your music as well.
Yeah, you know, it goes without saying, they're amazing, and I love them, and I love Lennon as well, you know, and I love sort of his solo stuff, and a song that really inspired me was a song called Give Me Some Truth, and there's this great documentary called Give Me Some Truth. It's the making of the Imagine album, and you see him. This is going back years ago, like, and I just started to sing, and you see him singing that song, and it's quite sort of venomous and sort of quite spat out, and you know, in a way a bit like Gallagher style, you know. You can see that influenced him, and I remember just watching it and just thinking, wow, you know, I want that, you know, I want to, and it's sort of, I always remember that point being the point where, I don't know, it just sort of changed, yeah.
So did you learn about the Beatles via Oasis and then follow back there?
No, I guess, well, you know, from where I'm from and, you know, growing up and that, it was always getting played in the house, and it's just sort of part of you, you know.
Pretty hard to ignore in that part of the world.
Yeah, you know, and you know, my mother, she loves music, and she loves Motown, and you know, she loves like the Four Tops and stuff like that, and Temptations, and you know, I've learned a lot from listening to all that stuff as well, you know, and even to this day, you know, I love it. Yeah.
Now, one of the more fascinating tracks on the album, Inhaler, was Sean Bonniwell, who just recently passed away too.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah. How did you?
R.I.P.
Yeah. How'd you come up?
I just heard his song and robbed his riff.
Yeah.
And then wrote some lyrics for a chorus, and then split the publishing with him. You know, but he loved the track. You know, it got sent to him, and he was like really sort of blown over by it. So. Yeah, great band, and I got into them by in my local records shop. When I used to live in Liverpool, there was this record in the window of the Music Machine, and you know, they all had black polo necks on, black chains, black bowl heads, and all had one leather glove, and that fascinated me. That this one leather glove, you know, all the band, it looked cool as fuck, man. And then I went in the shop next day and I was chatting, and the guy was like, "Oh yeah, Miles, you'd love this record I've got, and it's in the window." I was like, "What? That one with the black gloves?" And that was it. And he put me onto it, and they're a great band, you know.
Yeah.
I don't really know how well they did in the day or whatever.
Well, pretty much nothing.
Really,
very cult, yeah.
Yeah, but great, and they've got some good songs, you know.
Did you actually get to meet him?
No. Didn't get to meet him. No.
Yeah. CeeLo Green was somebody who popped up on British television. He just performed that song, didn't he?
Yeah, it was mad. It was for the Radio 1, like live lounge. He did like a special, and I remember getting a text saying CeeLo Green is doing it, and I was like, oh, fuck off. You're having me on. And then got home and it was true. And it was mad that, innit? You know. But
so you watched the performance?
But yeah, I've seen it, and he does a good job.
Yeah,
it's funny, isn't it? You know, and great though. You know, I was buzzing.
He didn't change the lyrics though, did he?
No, he kept it. He did a great, version of it.
Yeah,
you know?
That's right. He's in all sorts of trouble at the moment for changing the lyrics to Imagine on New Year's Eve in New York.
Why? What did he do?
He changed Imagine.
No
religion to. He changed to all religions through. So he reversed the meaning of the song. Yeah. Now, you recorded in the Conch Studios as well, didn't you?
That was when I said earlier, that was my first week.
Oh, that was
with Griff Rhys and Craig Silvey.
That's when Noel popped by with his Kit Kats.
No, that was at the very end when I was mixing, when the Kit Kat appeared. That was my first week, and that was in the Conch, and we did those 2 tracks, and another one as well, but it's never got used. And it's a great studio, you know. And but then I did most of the record with a guy called Dan Carey, in his sort of basement studio. And and it's great, you know. Yeah, I did we recorded about 15 tunes with him.
Yeah,
and that was who I did it mostly with. Yeah,
and that was the Kinks studio.
The Conk one, yeah.
Yeah.
Ray Davis.
Yeah. So do you sort of feel the vibe in a studio that, you know, so many great
it's a great
songs are recorded
studio,
in?
you know. Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah. And we did this other we did like a live session in there as well, and that was good, you know. Yeah, it's a good vibe in there, you know.
Now the Last Shadow Puppets, what's the status of that?
It's just sort of on the back burner, you know.
Will there be a second album?
There will be when the time's right, you know. And but you know, who knows? Don't know. Just keep it there. And we'll both know together when it's, you know, we're both sort of enjoying our things, but we're still sort of working together, and you know, which is great. And you know, I think we're just enjoying our both little paths, and when the time's right, we'll go and do that again, you know.
Yeah, because The Age of the Understatement was one of the great albums of 2008. You must have been very, very happy with it.
Yeah, it was we didn't even expect to make a record, you know. We were just, you know, two young lads that had written these songs and went to France for 2 weeks to record a couple and see what had happened, see what, you know, if it'd work or whatever. And in 2 weeks we recorded 11 songs, and yeah, it was sort of all done really. And it was a beautiful, you know, we have a great connection, me and Alan. It's a great partnership, you know.
Could you put a time on when a second album may eventuate?
Maybe, I don't know, man, back end of this year, but maybe next year, you know.
Oh, sort of the Bowie cover you did.
In the Heat of the Morning.
Which is a really obscure Bowie, I think 1967.
Yeah.
I had to go and look up that song to find out when it came out. The World of David Bowie album, 1967. You know, years before Ziggy Stardust.
Yeah, but it's when he was like a mod, and I loved that era. And there's this other one called I Can't Help Thinking About Me as well, which is a great track. And yeah, just like those two from that era, and I think there may be another one, but yeah, I love that, you know. And he looked cool, man, then as well. Good haircut. And
the Rascals came to an end as a result of you leaving the band. Any regrets?
No, not at all. You know, it just sort of died. It's, you know, we had big hopes, and then it just sort of didn't really work out, and it sort of went a bit on its arse, and then it was, you know, split up, and it's, you know, what you're going to do? Are you going to start a new band or what? And I just thought, I'm going to do it on my own. And you know, I knew that with being a solo artist or whatever you you call it, you know, it's, I play rock and roll. I know, you know, it'll sound big and it'll sound fat and it'll sound, you know, balls heavy, and it's and I knew that no one else is doing that, and it's sort of, I always had this vision, and that's what you've done, and you've done it, and it feels amazing to have had that in your mind from nothing, you know, and you're just doing your thing, and if, yeah, I just want to keep going, keep working, keep writing, keep recording, going to put a new song out in England in April, and you know, just keep pushing it, keep getting better.
Well, it's great to have you in here, Miles, to talk about like quarter of a century of life, and you've crammed a hell of a lot of music into that time already.
Yeah,
let's hope you're as prolific for the next 25 years.
Let's hope so, mate, you know.
All right, good to have him
Thanks,
here.
fella.
Miles Kane here at Noise 11.